What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down why tomorrow is going to be an absolutely massive day for the markets, for the economy, and NIO because the big rate hike decision is going to be made. I'm going to talk about why this is so big for the markets and how on earth this is actually going to be affecting NIO. And before I break anything down and talk about what on earth the rate hikes are, how this is going to be big for NIO, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, any of these 12 free stocks could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 10 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So overall, the market did have a bit of a sell-off today, and NIO is down about 2.34%. However, tomorrow is going to be even more telling of what's about to come. So why is tomorrow so big for NIO? I'm going to show you guys exactly why. When you look at SPY, all right, we've had these moments where the SPY could have these huge sell-offs in a very short period of time, and that comes based off things like the FOMC meetings, based off what's going on with inflation, and it really affects the overall market. Now, NIO does have a tendency of following the SPY, maybe not perfectly, but they tend to do that, the overall market as well. And the economy and the decisions that will affect the economy are going to have an effect on NIO as well because of how it's being traded during these times. So why is this so important? Well, CPI came out, guys, a couple of weeks ago, and you guys remember the market got a huge crash, one of the worst days in history. And that was because of the fact that we thought inflation, was supposed to peak, was supposed to start going down. Technically, overall, the number did look like it went down, but core CPI, when you exclude food and energy, went up. That means almost everything still went up again, and inflation has not peaked yet. So, because of that, there's been a lot of hands being thrown at the Fed. What are these people doing to deal with this problem? And the markets are now expecting a 75 basis point rate hike. Now, Jerome Powell mentioned previously that the Fed is willing to do whatever it takes to bring down inflation, and as a part of that, they may even have to be more aggressive. Now, the markets right now have priced in 75 basis points. We are expecting a 75 basis point hike, but we haven't even come close to fully pricing in 100 basis points. All right? We haven't done it yet. And if we get that number, it's not going to be good for the markets whatsoever. So let's make this simple. We have two possibilities tomorrow, the two main possibilities. We get a 75 basis point rate hike or a 0.75% rate hike in the federal funds rate. Once again, if you don't know what that means, this just means that it costs banks more money to borrow money. And for them to borrow money, they have to charge everyday people more money. So that makes interest rates, mortgages, credit card payments, and so on and so forth go up. Because borrowing money is more expensive, demand slows down. This is supposed to bring down inflation. So if we get 75 basis points, all right, the market could rally off of this because we already priced this in. You guys can see it right here. We priced in 75 basis points, but we started to price in 100, but we haven't fully done that yet. So this could lead to short-term relief since we already priced in 75. However, for the long term, we could still see more pain, and the pain could be a little worse if the Fed is not more aggressive because inflation, it doesn't seem to be peaking yet. It still is very high. Now, if we get 100 basis points, that's also a possibility. This would lead to more short term distress, but less potential long term pain, meaning that for the short term, the Fed are willing to cause the market to crash, put us into a recession, make things a little bit harder for the short term, so that in the long term, we start to deal with inflation because that's the bigger issue. If they don't do it this way, the long term is not going to be bright and it's going to become very tough with inflation being this sticky. So both of these are possible. If we get 75, the market will rally. NIO is going to have most likely a green day, start pushing up very strongly. If we get 100 basis points, the market will most likely crash tomorrow, take a huge hit because we haven't really priced this in yet. So right now, institutions, they are actually buying a lot more puts than calls as of right now for SPY. So they are anticipating some potential downside to come. Now, do they really believe that's going to happen? Although it's unlikely, we don't truly know yet. And if one side is too over leveraged, we've seen what can happen to the markets. But right now, it's not about market maker manipulation. I think the bigger thing affecting us is the Fed and how their policies affect us. So we have to be prepared. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is when we have midterm elections, because midterms are coming, guys, the market tends to rally going into these midterms historically. Now, the question is, are we going to see a big rally starting now, or are we going to come down for a little bit more time, just like how we tend to go down in September? Are we going to go down for some time before we capitulate and then get that big recovery? That is yet to be answered. So, NIO, from a technical standpoint, the volume is kind of low. So we did drop on low volume, which is a pretty decent sign. But the short sellers or those with short positions, as of right now, they don't really have the edge for NIO. There are still lots of buyers coming in, which is a pretty decent sign. So I mean, in my opinion, that's a good sign because NIO has potential to push up short term, but fundamentals aren't driving the market right now. So we really have to wait and see the right hike decision before really setting that direction. Now, a great piece of news for the fundamentals is NIO delivered their first battery swap station now to their partner in Hungary. So very, very awesome. Their new NIO Power European plant, it's now actually getting these new power swap stations. It's absolutely incredible. Not to mention the big upgrades being made in Neo Park. I'm super bullish long term, guys. For the short term, however, it's going to depend on what the Fed ends up doing. So let's make this very simple. What's going to happen to Neo? Let's pull up Neo. So if we get, let me use the 5-minute chart for this. Tomorrow, hypothetically, guys, if we get 75 basis points, if the Fed is not as uh, hawkish, let's actually start right here. So we have FOMC coming. What I think is going to happen is tomorrow, NEO might actually push up a bit, then come down, and it's going to come down when Jerome Powell is speaking, right? Like this. And once the decision is made, then we're going to set a direction. If we get 75 basis points, NEO is going to start to rally. It's going to start pushing up like this. We're going to get a really, really nice move to the upside. Pretend this is all just for one day, guys. And NEO could actually come all the way up to the 21s, make a nice, nice, nice move. All right? But if we don't get 75 basis points, if we get 100 basis points, NEO is going to drop with the whole market. The whole market's going to take a hit. NEO, let's just say NEO drops with the overall market when Powell is speaking. We push up. NEO is going to dump down to the 19s, maybe even touch the 18s, guys. It's not going to be pretty if we get 100 basis points, in my honest opinion. Whoopsie daisy, I think I messed that up. Anyways, sorry about that. I'm pretty sure you guys got my point. Basically, follow this, and then we just end up coming down. Sorry about that. I think I just messed up. But anyways, NEO is going to come down to these support zones. It's going to come down pretty hard if we end up getting 100 basis points. There's going to be a big reaction. So please be ready. Now, what does this mean for the longer term? I know I have so many support and resistance levels. So what I mentioned in my previous videos is going into this date, as we approach this date where this this vertical red line is, I anticipate NEO is going to start to rally as we approach that date. Now, the problem is whether we start rallying now or it takes time for us to get that rally depends on FOMC. So, excuse me, if we get 100 basis points, NEO is most likely going to come down for the short term, maybe fill these gaps down here. Then slowly it's going to start to recover as we approach midterms. If we don't get 100 basis points, NEO could hold up and start to rally. And as midterms come, this thing could start pushing to the mid 20s or even higher than that. All right. So please be ready for tomorrow. Huge day for the markets. It's going to affect everyone. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.